From Tally to Cali.
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin Energy.
The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark. Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, big dot on the plot chart for FSU as they face Virginia this week. We're going to learn a lot. Are we buying into a blowout? And sue us. We're looking ahead to Miami already. Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com, promo code warchantbogo, warchant, B-O-G-O. Just type that in, buy one, get one free. It's that easy. Getting all the energy you need to make your day manageable, to make your mood better, to make your focus improved. That's also really easy too when you take a shot of Vitamin Energy. Not even 2 fluid ounces. Tastes great without any sugar. No sugar crash. Just caffeine, vitamins, and nutrients synergistically formulated to, again, get you through the day, make you feel a little bit better, have your focus a little bit more dialed in, as we hope the Noles will be on Friday when they take on Virginia. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Come on down. Come home, everybody. $1 for a week. Give it a try. Check out all the other message boards. You can't snipe at them on their boards. You can read what they're saying, though. You can lurk. But there's also the main board, all the national writers that we have at our disposal now. Chris Lowe, obviously Andy Staples, Brett McMurphy, building a monster over at on3.com. Come join us over at warchant.com. Corey Clark joining us from parts unknown, or you're in the Carolinas, yeah?
I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina. That part is known to people.
Nice.
In a Hilton property, trying to figure out the Wi-Fi, buddy, so I'm doing my best right now.
Our guy and his bride, both Hilton Rewards members or Hilton Honors members. So, Hilton, if you're listening to this, help them out next time. They're still going to be loyal members, but just,
Well, they just didn't offer me the fast internet connection. Usually you get that offer. Like, do you want to do the free one? Was there
any window, or did you just automatically connect to the internet?
Just automatically connected to the Hilton. It went straight to the Hilton homepage with no option to connect for free or to use the fancy high Wi-Fi service. So, So now I'm on my iPhone. I'm on my personal hotspot, trying my best. I assume it sounds at least better than the first take we did of this.
Oh, boy. It does. Okay. Much
right,
better. Let's get back to all these questions from the Renegade Express mailbag. We start off with Island Chief, who says, I've got a couple clips from the spring. This first one's from Gunnar Hansen.
Coach Malzahn preaches every day we're going to be the best offense in college football, and just breaking stuff up every day. What we're going to be the best at, just going scheme by scheme, detail by detail. So we're going to be the best offense in college football this year. That's the mission. Coach Malzahn preaches every day.
Then he also adds, our guy Island Chief, he put something from the podcast the following day that we did, but I went and scrubbed through it, and there wasn't anything too revealing. But he says, y'all need to get him in front of a mic for some follow-up questions. Tony Tokar said it too, man. Tony Tokar's called the shot as well. Maybe we can get Tony on the show. Anyways, if you're Virginia, what are you going to try to take away from this overwhelmingly solid FSU offense? Where, if any, chinks in the armor can you find? We're not in the business of giving away weaknesses to the enemy, but I don't know, Corey, I think you have to live with Tommy beating you over the top. But, Tom made a really good point. Like, you're going to have to play off. And if you play off against a guy like Deuce Robinson, either he's going to be able to run by you eventually, or he'll be able to cut his, if you play him off, rather, he'll be able to cut off his routes earlier, and he'll be able to get, 8 yards, 11 yards, and maybe not beat you over the top if you're going to try to keep everything in front of you. But I would imagine, like, Virginia's only way is they got to be able to disrupt with 4 guys up front, whether that's the running attack or getting to the quarterback. But I would assume number 1 through 10 objective for them is to slow down the running game. But I don't think they can. Not that easy.
Yeah, it's not that easy. That's what Alabama wanted to do too. Kent State and East Texas A&M couldn't do it if they had 13 guys on the field. But that's what they're going to be trying to do, is to stop the running game. Now, to me, that means stopping the quarterback. Making sure the quarterback doesn't beat you with his legs, but that's easier said than done, man. When he has a goal to get outside of you, he's really hard to contain. And he's also not going to keep it a ton. But if you give too much attention to the quarterback, then Salchuk can hit you for 10 or 12 or 15, or so can Cromaw, or Jalen Lucas or Danzy can go for 50. Like that's what makes this thing so difficult to stop. Is you think about, you have an RPO, which is really it's an RRO, where either Tommy keeps it going to the right, or Mekhi Danzy goes to the left. And I don't know how many option plays they have like that, where it's actually, hey, pull it out of Danzy and run. But I'm saying, like, as a defense, when you're seeing that, when you see 19 go in motion or 12 go in motion, that's Jalen Lucas's number, everyone, if y'all forgot, because he didn't get to play a lot these last 2 games. You have to honor that, right? You can't just let him run to the sideline, because he'll turn into a 6-yard game. But if you do go with him and the quarterback happens to keep it, well, he's almost as good athlete, or he is about as good athlete as those 2 guys. Plus, you do have kind of the thunder dudes up the middle in Cromaw and Sawchuk that just make it really hard to stop. But you got to try. And you can't dedicate too many. You can't be bringing 8 guys into the box. Yeah. Because, man, that is, with Squirrel and Deuce and maybe Mekhi too and Pittman, that's a hard thing to deal with. So, honestly, you got to hope your front 4 plays incredibly well, right?
Yeah.
Get in the backfield, make some plays, create some havoc, set up some 2nd and 13, some 3rd and 9s. That's the way you try to stop them, but that's much, much easier said than done.
Candy Knoll, not that I want to think there was any tampering, although everyone else cheats, so. At what point last year do you think Mike called Gus, or who called Tommy, and how do they all start planning for 2025? I mean, Mike said, I think he mentioned that during that second bye week, which was after Notre Dame, before Charleston Southern, I think, when they made the changes.
That's right, when you needed that bye week was between Notre Dame and Charleston Southern.
Right. I think he said that's kind of when he would speak to Gus semi-regularly throughout a year. Maybe not a football season, but like throughout a year. But I guess and that point is kind of maybe when they connected and started putting the pieces together. And I do wonder whose mind did the idea of like Tommy come to first? Was it Mike, like, hey, Gus, I think if I have you run the show, we'll be good. And we just need to find the quarterback, and Gus is like, say less. Or if Mike was like, Gus, I think we can get Tommy. What do you think? I do wonder how all that worked. But I do think he mentioned that it was during that second bye week, Corey, when it started coming together, if not fully developed.
Yeah, I think when it comes to, I'd like to see, if I took 20 seconds, I could look at the timeline to see the timing of the Notre Dame game. And when did it coincide with Castellanos quitting, however you want to phrase it, the Boston College team last year? Like, because that was before the end of the season, right?
Correct.
So I feel like there was probably a 7 or 8 day window there where Gus and Tommy and Mike Norvell were all kind of coming together as a triumvirate. I would have to imagine that they reached out to Tommy very, very, very quickly. And I don't know if he was officially in the portal yet. I don't know how all these back channels works. I'm assuming they had his cell phone. They could have Snapchatted him or WhatsApped him. However you want to do it, I feel like late November, because Tommy didn't have a team, Gus was about to be the Florida State OC, and Norvell needed both. He needed an OC and a QB. I would assume that's when. But as far as who approached who, I think it was definitely mutual, but 100% I think like Florida State reached out to Castellanos, and he was eager to take the call.
So I see a byline from an independent paper up there in the Boston area, the Heights. November 12th, Castellanos got benched for Grayson James, and then I think within a day or two, he then left the program. Florida State played Notre Dame on November 9th. Their next game was Charleston Southern the 23rd.
And they announced Malzahn, I believe, the day of the Florida game. I'm almost positive. Maybe it was the Charleston Southern game that they announced Malzahn.
I need to look. UCF had a bye week the same week, too. I know that. They had to announce Malzahn after the season.
They announced him the day of a game. The rumors started coming out the day of the game.
He was officially announced on
Florida game.
He was officially announced on December 2nd. Let's see here, November 30th, which I don't know what that day is. That would probably help. He resigned on a Saturday from UCF. Let me see what that November 24.
All right. I mean, I assume that was the same Saturday as the Florida game.
November calendar. Great stuff here, everybody. The 30th was the last Saturday of November. So the byline was the 30th. So, yeah, he resigned Saturday. Then, I don't know, maybe that night or maybe the Sunday, maybe on December 1st. But December 2nd was officially announced, which was a Monday.
Yeah. So then, it was the Florida game. So there was I would assume it was set in motion, obviously, before that. Who cares? Honestly, I know, and I'm the one that brought up the timeline. I didn't know if it was going to take that long. I'm just saying I think that it's got to be fast-paced in this day and age because you're hiring someone. You need a quarterback, clearly. But I think that the fact that they all had history together and, Malzahn had coached them before. Norvell had coached against them. They recruited him. Like it made perfect sense, and who knows when it happened.
Well, here's the thing: does he? Sorry, Corey, but does he fire Atkins if he doesn't know he already has Gus? Not that you were going to retain Alex Atkins if you couldn't get Gus Malzahn, and you had every intention of getting rid of Alex Atkins. But I don't know if you do that in season, even despite the fact they look so horrendous and so gross, unless you 100% knew you had somebody lined up and agreed to. UCF also had the same schedule. They played a game on the 9th of November. They did not play again until the 23rd. So everything lined up for the same bye week for both programs.
I definitely think Atkins was gone before he knew Malzahn was the guy.
Okay.
100%. That was something that had to be done because he didn't know Tony White was coming.
Well, he knew he was going to
stop him from firing Adam Fuller.
No, I think he knew he was going to get. Well, I guess you're right. I just think he knew he was going to obviously get rid of these coordinators, but I don't know if you do it in season like that. If you don't,
you do after you remember this was not 20-12 to Memphis. This was an embarrassing showing on national television in a game that you were already an underdog by 30 points or something, and you just looked like Kent State did the other week. It was an embarrassing showing in the middle of an embarrassing season. You could not just run it back the next Sunday. You also did have the off week coming up. You knew you were going to make the firings anyway. They were coming. You had to terminate some people. Do it right after that, then pick up the pieces and figure out where you're going. Because remember, for a week and a half, we were thinking about Brennan Marion. So Malzahn was not like, oh, he absolutely knows who he wants. I think it was more like we know these guys are leaving. I've got to show the fan base that I care enough to make some changes, and I cannot wait until we get blasted by Florida at the end of the year. I want them to know that this is unacceptable right now, and whether that was Norvell's doing or Michael Alford / Peter Collins / Richard McCullough's doing, it had to be done that Sunday. There had to be drastic measures taken the Sunday after that beatdown, I think, not knowing if Malzahn would come or not. It all worked out, though. It all worked out.
Blue Nole. Hey, guys, I'm so glad to have college football as a distraction in my life. When the Noles are good, I've got some extra pep in my step. But with the political landscape of our country being what it is, I find I'm not able to get swept away in college football as much as I'd like to be. That said, if we could have only Noles to fill our political cabinet, who would you vote for? Here are some of my picks. Charlie as POTUS, President of the United States. Jordan Travis as VP. Marvin Jones, Secretary of Defense or Defense. Myron Rolle as head of HHS, Health and Human Services. That's a slam dunk. Warwick Dunn. Yeah. Warwick Dunn as head of HUD. Yeah. Housing and Urban Development. Yeah, for sure. Warwick Dunn. You don't have to go that deep into the cabinet. Just President and VP would be enough. Players only. Although I make exceptions for Gene Williams as Secretary of State, being a lawyer and all, and Corey as press secretary because he would lighten the mood of the press room with his sarcasm and self-deprecating humor. Thanks, guys.
Right, yeah.
Blue Nole. No.
Could use some of that little lightening of the mood at some of these briefings. I think I would say, look, number one, I would run for president. I'm not going to settle for press secretary. I've got some ideas. I got good ideas. Everyone, I'm smart. Like Fredo in Godfather. I'm smart. Yeah. What about Derek Brooks, man? Like Derek Brooks was a great student too, and also obviously a Hall of Fame football player. I think that's a good one.
Anquan's in there somewhere. Secretary of State.
Anquan, Warwick Dunn's. Yeah, those are both really good ones. There's too many to choose from. Isn't there somebody, a former player that's like a mayor?
Well,
I thought, or at least had run for office, I thought.
Corey Simon's a congressman. Then isn't there a police
Corey
chief?
Simon, too, yeah.
I think there's a police chief in South Florida. I don't know if he played football at Florida State, but he might have been a Florida State alum.
You know who I would hire? Who I would want running the country? Honestly, this will not be political. I promise, folks. Give me an offensive lineman, because you know what offensive linemen care about? The good of the team, the good of the group, not just himself. Because by definition, you can't be a selfish human being and play offensive line. You don't get to score touchdowns. You don't get your name on websites, and you don't get interviewed a ton. Like when we had played that Gunnar Hansen clip earlier, I had no idea who was talking the first time we played it. Give me any good offensive lineman of the last 40 years, whether it's literally anybody. Walter Jones, Jamie Dukes, Jose Matias, Cam Irving, just somebody that puts the group above themselves. And again, I'm not saying that the rest of the positions are selfish. I'm just saying they all get some individual glory. Offensive linemen almost never do. And that's the kind of person I want in charge of things. Somebody that cares about the overall good of what's going on, not just what it means for him. Because again, if you're sitting there sweating and bleeding on some other 300-pound person, and you're falling to the ground and sweating all over the place for 3.5 hours, only to go hoist up somebody that just got to score a touchdown and see their highlight, and you're still grabbing them by the shoulders and hoisting them up like a trophy because you're so excited for them, that's the kind of person I want leading the country.
Kind of sound like a communist, Corey. Just telling you. Kind of sound like
sure. Well, yeah. There you go. Hey, good in theory, right? That whole communism thing.
Noel Dad for life. Wake up, dudes. Real season starts Friday. This is a very broad question, so this is all you, Corey. How aggressive do you think we will be on both offense and defense? I mean, is there any alternative?
Yeah, man, I was going to say, I feel like that's just the default setting they have to play at. I don't know if you mean like holding some things back for Miami. I just, we talked about this a little bit on headlines.
Maybe that.
I don't think you can do. I'm going to take it as that question, even if it wasn't, because that's a good question.
If it was if that was what he had in mind.
If that was the question, it was a good question either way. But that would be more apropos of this week. Look, I don't think you can afford to hold anything back. You've got to win this game.
Yeah.
You just have to win this game. Let me put it this way: if you've got an unbelievable 2-point conversion play, it's going to work. Like the one they had a couple years ago, Aslan, that they finally ran in one of those, maybe the Boston College game a couple years ago. Yep, we had been calling it for 6 weeks. You're going to see this play, and it's unguardable, and we knew it, and it worked like a charm. Whoever the tight end was wide open, just like we knew he'd be. If you have a play like that, and you need a 2-point conversion to put this game away or to win the game or to send it to overtime, you can't be like, let's go to my third best 2-point conversion play because I want to save the best one for next week. This is the most important game. Win it and then figure out what you got to do the next week. Same thing on defense. You don't hold anything back. You're not vanilla. You can't afford to be vanilla. Hopefully you're good enough that you get up by a lot and you don't have to show everything. Odds are that won't happen, though, and you need to play well and do everything in your power to win this game.
Hell yeah, Corey. Although some people might think that this is going to be really easy, so maybe they can save everything because they're not going to need to pull out all the bags or the tricks in their bags. Guys like Bennett Knoll, this team looks good. I don't feel there will be any drop-off this week. In UVA's toughest game this year so far, they lost to NC State and gave up a lot of points. I think we will put 40-plus on Virginia, and the defense will play tough. Gus Bus will wear them down. Tony will have the defense prepared. Would you both agree?
I do. I think that's the one thing that that gives you comfort in a game like this. Not only they're experienced, a lot of their guys, I know it's a new team, but most of these guys have played in tougher environments than the one they're going to be in on Friday night and played better teams. But you just trust the coaches, right? Like I think until I'm proven wrong, and it could be this week, could be next week, could be every week besides the last three, I feel like Florida State has a decided coaching advantage going into almost all of these games. And Norvell, obviously, good head coach, has proven it. But that's how much I respect these coordinators. I just think they're good. They have answers to questions that maybe other coordinators don't. They also have talent, which helps. But I just think Tony White and Gus Malzahn are really good at their jobs. And that gives you a lot of that should give you a lot of comfort, whether it's a home game or a road game. Now look, the players still got to go make plays, you got to go win. But I do like the fact that you feel good about the coaching side of things. And I don't know, the matchup of Malzahn versus their DC and the matchup of Tony White versus their OC, which I guess is probably Tony Elliott, right?
Yes.
But Tony Elliott's good, and this is a good offense. And sometimes you just don't have answers. But I like these. I believe in this coaching staff, man. I think they've upgraded there significantly.
Upgrade your game day experience by hanging out with fellow Noles over at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, located at 2475 Appalachia Parkway. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill has delicious options on the menu, whether you want a small plate like an appetizer or a full-on entree, maybe even a Cory wrap. Boys and girls, yeah, that's a real thing. Go try it. Daily lunch specials from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., and then that weekday happy hour from 4 to 7 p.m., and then all day Sunday if you want to go watch your NFL favorites. Friday night, the Noles taking on Virginia. Can't make it to Scott Stadium? Make it to the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. 2475 Appalachia Parkway, cptallybar.com, the website. After years of struggles, I have slimmed down, everyone. And not because of a GLP-1, but because of Ridge and their whole suite of products. Everybody knows Ridge for their wallets, and with good reason. These beautifully crafted wallets allow you to carry all the cards or cash you need without the need to sit on a bulky clump of leather. I went with the Monaco White aluminum wallet. They also have titanium out there for the really fancy folks. Mine is currently on sale, believe it or not, actually. It's powder-coated, fits my license, my insurance card, the Amex, the debit card, and since I'm now engaged and domesticated, my Costco card. I also have the keychain that allows me to stow my keys neatly into something about the size of like a piece of gum and with the thickness of a matchbook. Ah, yes, front pocket life is good. Everything fits in my front pockets now. The wallet is built to last, and Ridge backs it up with a lifetime warranty. So upgrade your wallet today. Get 10% off at Ridge with the code WAKEUP. That's ridge.com/wakeup to save 10% off your order. Again, ridge.com/wakeup to get 10% off your order. We're back. It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. VitaminEnergy.com, warchantbogo, your promo code. All right, we got some paragraphs from our friend down in Naples. Mark, wake up. Number one offense in the country. Can't believe I'm typing that. Can argue the numbers are inflated because of the competition since Alabama, but without the muffed punt against Bama, that game was headed towards a blowout as well. Let's just pause, reflect on where the offense was a year ago, and dare I say it, the Florida and Clemson offenses are looking a lot like that now. Okay, we paused, we reflected. We all feared that Norvell's 2024 collapse had allowed Florida and Clemson to take back all their momentum that Mike had gained over that 2022-23 stretch. Well, that seems to have changed in a hurry. That's what I'm most excited about at the moment, at least until kickoff Friday against Virginia, and then it's back to business. To me, this Friday night will be an interesting case in sports psychology. This team had almost nothing to lose facing Alabama. Just play hard, be organized, show there's improvement. That seemed to be the goal. Now they are the hunted, not the hunter. At this juncture, with its first ACC contest on the road, some of these players could go Greg Norman at the 96 Masters. Great start, big lead, and then the pressure gets to them. Oof. Or they could go Tiger or Scheffler and keep their foot on the opponent's throat, beating Virginia soundly with a killer instinct, or somewhere in the middle and just get out of there with a W. Thoughts?
It ended there abruptly. Well, yeah, those are the options, I guess. Well, yes, those are the options. They could lose, they could win by a little, or they could win by a lot. Look, I don't think that it is a different test. It is a road game, but the last question, and I can't remember who asked it, is right. I mean, I don't think Virginia's defense is very good, and I certainly don't think they've seen anything like this. Now, if they can stop them, they can stop them. That's fine. They do get the home crowd. They'll be all riled up. I get it. Things happen. They could be a drastic difference in turnovers, and you can't. If that happens, who knows? Like if you lose the turnover battle, good chance you're going to lose the game, or at least it'll be a much better game than it would have been otherwise. I just think, the more I think about it, I would just be surprised if Tommy didn't play his ass off. I think that's how this guy is wired. I think there's some guy, and he's not the whole offense, don't get me wrong, but he makes it go. And I just think if on the road, the whole country watching because Florida State's a top 10 team again, hoping they get upset, I just think there's a chance he could thrive in something like this. And he's also got weapons to give the ball to, lots of them. And I don't like Virginia. I don't think Virginia's defense is very good. I don't think it's all that fast. I think it can be exploited. If you don't have crazy penalties and you don't turn the ball over because of the quarterback, because of the weapons, because of that OC, I just think you're going to move the ball a lot. Now you got to convert third downs, you got to convert in the red zone. We get all that, but I just think it's a bad matchup for Virginia's defense. We'll see, but I think it's a bad matchup for Virginia's defense, and that's what gives you comfort, right? I don't expect a Tiger Woods. If we're going with that analogy, I'm not expecting Tiger Woods 97, but I think or Scheffler whenever he wins by 20, but it, I could see them winning by multiple scores and maybe putting the game away in the second half or in the fourth quarter, just because I believe in this offense, man. I believe in this offense and I believe in the coaching staff, but I really only have one game of proof, right? Isn't that the real point, Aslan?
Absolutely.
We've got one game of proof.
Yep.
We don't have three. These last two, last year's team would have won by 30 points. Last year's team. Yeah. So keep that in mind. Yes, they're number one in the nation in offense and scoring. We still don't know what they are. They did beat Alabama. I don't want to take that away, and I love the way they came out and played against East Texas A&M the next week. And they were perfectly fine. They did everything they needed to do against Kent State, but those are awful football teams. They're playing a bowl team on Friday night, and they're playing them on the road. And so we'll see what it looks like. I just think after 60 minutes, I also think something we haven't touched on, Aslan, real quick. I know this wasn't part of the question, but I think Virginia likes to play fast too, right? They could go kind of hurry up. I just feel like maybe the more plays that are in this game, the better that is for Florida State. Like Virginia won't necessarily be trying to milk the clock. And I just think if you get the Florida State offense 11 possessions, you're going to be in the mid-30s probably, unless things go horrible.
Yeah.
And that's like a basement level, is like mid-30s. If you get 11 possessions, you might be in the 40s or 50s just because you're that good in offense. So, anyway, as long as you don't turn the ball over and you don't do dumb things, I feel like Florida State should win this game. Not Tiger Woods-like, but I don't know, man, like
Jose Maria Olafable?
Davis Love. Olafable. There you go. Perfect. Paul Azinger. Let's keep it in the Florida State family. Paul Azinger when he won whatever major he won. Or I guess he probably won two of them.
Zinger, yeah. Like a week or two ago when I think maybe after the East Texas game, like the whispers started happening about, wow, like just how good can this team be? And then obviously after what they did to Kent State, then it's kind of become a little bit of a runaway train in certain corners of internet communities that deal with Florida State sports. But I was, thinking to myself, if they go into, and I think you might have agreed with me, Corey, like if they go into Charlottesville and they beat that team handily, then all right, like teams don't go on the road and win conference games by huge margins like flukishly. Like really that proves something to a much stronger degree than what they've done the last 2 weeks. But then Indiana did what they did to Illinois. And I don't know how many people are like now really buying into Indiana, though. But I know it's Indiana, and it's not Florida State. I think if Florida State were to thump Virginia the way that Indiana did Illinois, I think there'd probably be more cachet, like, wow. Like, they really are. They're coming out for blood this year,
I get it, but it doesn't matter because of what the next week is.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if you go out and beat Virginia by 4 touchdowns – and then you don't play, who cares? Yeah, people think you're for real for 6 days, but it's not going to matter come Saturday night in Doak. In the same token, if you get out of there with a 3-2 victory, and then you go beat Miami the next week, who gives a flip what you did against Virginia? You're undefeated and you just beat Miami. So I feel like, yes, for perception purposes, it would be a big deal to go beat Virginia badly. the reality is what you do on that field Friday night, and then what you got waiting for you next Saturday. You get to go show what you are in real life.
Buffalo Tom, imagine being an opposing team's head coach when you have to sit with your staff on a Sunday and start going over this team's tape, Florida State's tape. Both the offense and the defense are so multiple. That and the fact it's so new and evolving with the young talent, it must be overwhelming. I honestly don't remember a team so multiple on both sides of the ball, do you? I couldn't imagine having a defensive meeting and trying to explain to your players how to stay sound and true to your jobs when you show the tape of what happens when Danzy starts sprinting towards the backfield.
Yeah, I mean, look, they've had really good offenses in the past. Florida State has that could do both, but it does present some unique challenges. I think if Tommy can make the throws that he's been making so far, because you know what he can do with his legs, and then all these other guys, the rest of the track team is running everywhere too, it does create some real big problems. It just does. It creates some really big problems. But, and also, let's not lose sight of the 5 guys up front. If they can stay healthy and keep playing like this and keep communicating like this, it all starts with the center, but all 5 of those guys seem to be playing well. They're playing well together for sure. Again, though, the last 2 weeks you almost can't judge. This Friday night is a nice test, and then we all know what the test is coming the Saturday after that. So let's see. But you just like it, man. You like what you see from everything about this offense so far. You've got the 6'6" dude up top. You got a burner in Squirrel White. You've got the ultimate burner in Dancy. You got Lucas, who's a wild card. You got Sawchuk, who scores 2 touchdowns a game. Crowmaw, who might be the next big thing at Florida State as a running back. You've got tight ends you like. There's a lot. McCoy is back. There's a lot. Boggs, we still don't really know what that is. There's a lot to like. But again, we pump. I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer. I'm just saying
you're being reasonable. You're being reasonable.
I am being reasonable.
Texas Tech did to Kent State what we did to Kent State.
Yeah.
Although I guess
Texas,
I guess there are people out there that are taking Texas Tech really for real now as a national title contender. But like Tennessee smoked Chattanooga or some other lesser program I can't remember. Listen, Indiana, again, they beat the brakes off of Illinois. Like, other teams are doing this. Like, this is happening at a lot of places. This is not like something really special and unique just to Florida State right now, which doesn't mean they can't beat up on the teams that are remaining on their schedule. But that's my only kind of hesitation, is that we're almost treating like this is like some sort of fairy tale, and like Florida State is on this generational run currently that has not been seen in years, generations possibly. It's like, man, it happened 2 weeks ago, So that's my only like Debbie Downer thing if I have to pick something from that category. It's impossible, and I'm not nitpicking on what they've done. Everything they've done has been remarkable, man. It has been, but we have to kind of take it in context and look around and see what else is happening and realize, all right, man, this isn't common, but it's not totally without comparison.
It would be a very good sign if they go and beat the brakes off Virginia. My whole point is, like, it really doesn't matter. And Virginia we don't even know what Virginia is, but if you can play not well and still win, it will not matter the following week. And again, perception is one thing. Like, yeah, Texas Tech looked good. They beat Utah. They looked really good, actually. The Indiana looked amazing in that game. Is that going to matter when they're lacing it up against Ohio State? Probably not. You still got to play that game. Yeah. Whether people think you're awesome or not doesn't matter. You still got to play the games and the teams on your schedule. So that's why I've kind of reverted back to, man, just win the game.
But I think the belief, though, Corey, is that if you've looked the way that Florida State's looked the last few weeks, you're on a 2013 trajectory where nothing is a problem.
I think
I'm not there, but that's what I think a lot of people are at right now.
And I guess I would just, again, to push back just a little bit on that is like, man, but you've got to remember the opponent. The opponent does matter. Florida State has not punted in 2 games. That will not happen the rest of the season. I don't know that they'll have another game where they don't punt. Probably not. So just understand that. Those were the 2 worst teams that Florida State has played in, I don't know, man, 5 years? 8, my lifetime. Like that East Texas A&M and that Kent State team is dreadful. So is East Texas A&M. So just keep that in mind. You did to them exactly what you're supposed to do, and especially the East Texas game. I loved how you came out and played that. But you will come down to earth a little bit now that you're in conference play. The beauty is all your guys have a ton of confidence, and we really think this is a good offense, and it could be a really good defense too. We just don't. My point is we don't really know based on these last 2 games. Friday night is a data point, a really big one, but not as big as the one that's will come in the next week, right?
Yeah.
And so it just keeps. And the biggest data of all, the only data points that really matter are shaped like W's. So as long as you keep stacking those things up, it doesn't matter if you're first in the nation scoring, or you drop to 5th, or you drop to 11th, or you drop to 19th. If you keep stacking up dubs, who cares? Especially where we came from last year.
There's a photo I saw, I think, from someone's Instagram where it's Max Chiamento, the punter, and Tommy in the locker room after this last game, and they're both holding their hands up in the number 0. Because he hasn't, to your point, he has not punted in 2 games, which,
right,
like when you say it out loud, you're like, that's incredible. They need to do like a Wilt Chamberlain photo with him, just holding the piece of paper, which is a big 0 on it, instead of the 100, and just like Max Chiamento.
They should have done it last year with Mastromato after one of those games where he had 11. And he
like
had to hold up a sheet of paper that said 11. Yeah, his yardage was like, 509 punting yards. Yeah. In holding that up because it was an all-time Florida State record.
Whether you're headed outdoors or out on date night, put on your Poncho Outdoors performance shirt and enjoy the breathable fabrics, functional pockets, and things like a microfiber lens cloth sewn into the hem of your shirt so that you can quickly and easily keep your shades clean, or in my case, eyeglasses. I'm rocking the ultralight that opts for a single breast pocket for a more crisp look, in my opinion. If you want a looser cut, they've got you covered with their regular fit, or try the slim fit for a more polished fit that works in all settings and still gives you that light, breezy feel. Compare this to a cotton polo, not even close. A golf polo, still not as light and comfortable as a shirt from Poncho Outdoors. Are you up north? Try the flannels and the soft, broken-in feel of their denim shirts. Poncho stands by every shirt, and they'll make it right if it's not your favorite. If you've been looking for the perfect shirt, something breathable that fits great, feels even better, and stands out in a good way, give Poncho a try. Go to ponchooutdoors.com/wakeup for $10 off your first order, and we'll give you free shipping and free returns, and you get that Poncho promise. It's PONCHO outdoors.com/wakeup to save $10 off your first order. We now have a full month of data, everybody. We're primed to make the bold picks. So are you. Join Corey and myself over at Underdog Fantasy this season to win off the field and win big. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Just make sure you pick a player for both teams in a given game and let your imagination or ambition take over. Also, Underdog affords the option to play responsibly. It allows you to play with as little as $1. Maybe you love college football, but maybe you've got a better feel for other sports. Well, all sports are available over at Underdog. UFC, soccer, tennis, Major League Baseball, and more. Download the app. It's Underdog Fantasy, and sign up with promo code WARCHANT to score $50 in bonus funds when you play with your first $5. That's promo code WARCHANT. Underdog Fantasy Sports must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 and older in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. We're back. It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com, warchantbogo, the promo code. I shouldn't say this one out loud, Corey. It's going to get you juiced up. But Tony Touch says, Corey out here talking about Virginia like they're the Patriots with Tom Brady playing quarterback.
That's true. Prove me wrong. Chandler Morris is the truth. That's his name, right? Chandler?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, he's the truth. They do have a good receiver now. The receiver's really good, and I think this quarterback's pretty darn good.
Yeah. Tennis Ump, good morning, guys. Congrats on your engagement, Aslan. Thank you. Miami, frankly, did not impress me to the level that I was expecting them to. With a little over 5 minutes left, they were only up 6. Gators only had 140 yards in total offense, which is almost hard to believe. What are your thoughts? Yeah. As I believe our defense is better than UF's. Thanks, as always, for what you do.
Yeah, they weren't impressive. offensively at all. And they kind of go and they started out really well against Notre Dame, and I didn't think they were all that impressive by the time that thing ended either, especially when you've seen what other teams have done to Notre Dame. And so, yeah, man, I'm not sold on Miami's offense. I think their defense is worlds better than it was last year. That's not a huge bar to clear, but I do think that defense is better and has a chance to be really good. That's the difference. I would just say this. There's no way, and I said this before the season, there's no way that Miami's offense will be as good as it was last year. They had the number 1 pick in the draft at quarterback. Yeah. And some dudes to throw to, and a really good running back. Like, they've still got skill guys, and their quarterback is still an NFL quarterback, but he's not the number 1 flipping pick. And he doesn't make things happen the way Cam Ward makes happen. That's just a different dynamic back there. And if you get pressure on him, he ain't great, like every quarterback, honestly, except for the ones that just can run around the pressure. He's not great, and I do think that Florida State's offense is better than Miami's offense overall. The defense could be a push again. I like Miami's defense. I do think they fly around. I do think those defensive ends are really good, but Again, they haven't faced – and we should be talking about this game because you got Tom Brady and the Cavaliers coming up.
That's right.
But I do think that it'll be – I just feel like Florida State's got a defense that's maybe not quite on par with Miami, player for player, maybe, but is pretty darn good, I think. We'll see. Again, Friday will tell us a lot. And I think the offense is better than Miami's. As a Georgia alum, I've seen Beck in some high-pressure games not be great, and when he's getting pressure, not be great. So, until I'm proven wrong on that front, I'm not expecting that Miami offense to come into Doak and light them up. Could be wrong. Things happen. But I would offensively not really impressed with Miami so far. But they played 3 real teams. Right. I know Florida's not any good, but that's a real team, and that's a physical game, and that's a rivalry game, and blah, blah, blah. South Florida's a bowl team and a good team. Notre Dame's a bowl team. They might win 10 games. So they've got some good wins, and they played some good teams, but I'm not sold on that offense at all. I think that defense is legit, though. They've made big strides there.
I'm not sold on that passing offense. I do think they can run the ball, though. Not at will, but they can run the ball. And if you're going to try to commit, extra resources to stopping the run, I do think Carson Beck is good enough that if you don't get to him quickly enough, like, he'll make some throws. And, I just think when you go
100%.
When you think about Florida State Miami game this season, I don't know, at least the way I see it playing, I think it's going to be a really tight one-possession game. So it will come down to, like, that third down where a guy comes free on a blitz, and does this Carson Beck totally turtle up or make a really bad decision, or does he like step up and eat it, but make a first down conversion? Like, that's the kind of stuff, or vice versa, like Tommy. Is Tommy going to be able to run on 3rd and 6 and know that he's about to catch one on the chin, but not care? Yeah. And he will, though. Like, that's the thing. We know for sure he will.
That's kind of what these games come down to, though. The close ones, the one-possession games, and not just the Miami game, even if you want to turn it to Friday night. Like, their quarterback can make plays, man. Sometimes special dudes just make special plays. What you want to do is make them earn it. You don't want to give them the flipping layups and just a breakdown in coverage where somebody's wide open and anybody could have made that throw or anybody could have made that run. Sometimes guys make plays, but you want a special player to have to go make a special play. If Carson Beck steps into a throw, gets lit up by Elijah Herring, but puts it on the money 26 yards downfield to a tight end that's covered well, it just makes a great throw because he does have an NFL arm and he is going to be an NFL quarterback. You just tip your cap, man. Sometimes that happens. You just don't want him to give him the easy stuff. And so far, again, I don't think Florida State gave Alabama some easy throws, but they were in the middle of the field where an inexperienced quarterback had to see it. You know what I mean? I know number 5 was running open a lot, but still, a guy that's inexperienced, they're not always looking in the middle of the field. They're not always looking at their second or third read, and they didn't make life all that easy for that guy, for Simpson. But sometimes guys just make plays, man. Like that German is a good receiver. Simpson, I think, is a good quarterback. We know Ryan Williams is a good receiver. Like, they got players. Miami's got players.
German.
What'd I say?
Yeah. German.
Yeah, that's right. I said. I was thinking of Jamie German from back in the day, from the 90s. But, yeah, so we'll see, man. I think that I think when it comes down to these games, though, again, like I said, Friday night, you want your special players to go make special plays, and on both sides of the ball. But sometimes it comes to that. And I brought this up more than once on this show, and this isn't necessarily that game, this type of game. Next week will be. But when Bobby Bowden was talking about the 93 game with the Swamp, when Florida State had a 27-7 lead and then started melting down, William Floyd fumbled going in to put the game away. Florida went 99 yards to get within 27-21. Bowden after the game was like, I just kept reminding myself, we have Charlie and they don't. And then Charlie went and won the national championship, because he's a special player. So was the guy he was throwing to on that touchdown to put the game away. You got some special dudes that sometimes when things are going against you, like Jordan Travis in Pittsburgh 2 years ago, man, nothing was going right in that game. He threw for a career-high yardage in that game without his receivers because he's a special dude that just went and made special plays. Sometimes that has to happen.
I lied. Last question. Primetime 92. Sorry, wake up, boys. It's been a while since I've written in. I wanted to say I'm proud of both of you.
Hey, thanks, man.
I'm writing because I live in Charlottesville and could not be more excited for this week. I have a couch and dog bed with both y'all's names on it.
Okay. All right.
Jokes aside, will you all be going out on the town in Seaville Thursday night? Recommendation, get a Bodo's bagel while you're in town.
Heard that. That might have been the same question. We had somebody on headlines, I think, that mentioned a Bodo's bagel. So that'll definitely be something we cross off the list. Stephanie and I will be there Thursday night, so we'll be go out and seeing the sights. And if you know where Dave Matthews was a bartender or where his band played when they were first starting out in Charlottesville, I know we'll be frequenting all of those places. So if you're bored on a Thursday night, I'm sure we'll be out doing something.
All right, that's a wrap for us. One more show.
Oh, there was no football question to that?
No, that was it.
Okay.
He's usually would ask us life-related questions.
Oh, right. Yeah,
he wasn't a big X's and O's guy, not a big ball guy.
Right. Gotcha.
Love you, Primetime 92. All right, we're done. Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 4 o'clock. They'll be having a pregame show Friday at 3 p.m. Jeff Cameron and Tom Lane. Postgame show 10 to 15 minutes after that game. War Chant Rap to follow sometime after that one as well. But again, we'll be back with another show for you folks tomorrow. Tune in for that. And in the meantime, warchant.com. And Coach Speak will be out there, everybody. Go check out Coach Speak. War Chant reports out there as well. Click, enjoy, subscribe. He's Corey Maslow. Thank you for listening to Wake Up War Chant, presented by Vitamin Energy. VitaminEnergy.com. WarChantBOGO, your promo code.